morning, everyone. A little change of scenery. I think I've started out the last few videos in my kitchen at 5 a.m. and I can't really talk because I've just woken up. It's about 8 a.m. right now. Slept in a little bit, trying to give my body some more time to recover during the taper. We are at Shoal Creek Boulevard right now. This is where I do my tempo runs, a few of my long runs. But today we're starting off. We got an 8-mile tempo run. We're gonna do 2 miles, just a warm up. Those will be in the Nike Zoom Fly 5s, and then for the first time ever, I'm gonna be running in Alpha Flies. I'm gonna try out the race day shoes, so that'll be 4 miles at, it's like marathon goal pace, but then again, it's my Ironman marathon goal pace, so I don't really know. Then a 2-mile cool down, so it's gonna be a good way to start the day. We got a lot to do today, so let's get going. All wrapped up, a little bit after 9:30 right now. Total time was I think like 1 hour and 3 minutes. Total pace was like 7:57. I had such a great interaction with my homie Ron. Shout out Ron if you're watching this. Just running past him, wearing the orange BPN hat, and he yells, "Go one more!" And I always yell it right back. I'm like, "Fuck yeah, go one more!" And I'm like, kind of going away. This was during like the Alpha Fly part, so I'm running pretty fast. Not pretty fast, but you know what I mean. And he goes, "Quick question," and I'm like yelling over my shoulder. I'm like, "Yeah?" He's like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Luke." He's like, "I follow you." And like I was just like, all right, I'm gonna like have a conversation. Like I don't know, I was just like this weird like I should talk to this guy. So I stopped running, went chopped it up with him. Phenomenal human being. Like just like a great perspective on life. Talked about how like at the most like objective level, we all are human beings, and whatever you want to accomplish is up to your work ethic. Like it was just such a real conversation that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think it was exactly what I needed as I'm headed into this taper. So yeah, really grateful for that interaction. But run went super smooth, as you can see, a little sweaty. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the shoes when I get home, because I do have some thoughts on them really fast, like only like one minor thing, but yeah, let's get home. I usually put a lot more effort into the way my meals look, but oh, you can't even really see it. Well, yeah, you can. There's just an avocado popped on top. We're gonna put that aside. I'm gonna eat that in a sec. So, what I wanted to say about the Alpha Fly is I like the shoe a lot. Definitely super springy, definitely a very fast shoe. But since it was my first time running in it, I didn't really get a good feel for the shoe till like mile 3 of the 4-mile interval, and then at that point I only had 1 mile left. I didn't like the switching out of my shoes between the warm-up, the actual intervals, and the cool-down. I prefer to just get like a total feel for the shoe, so that like I know what the Alpha Fly feels like at like say like an 8:30 pace, as well as what it feels like at like a 7:15 pace. You know, just getting like a holistic feel for the shoe. I didn't like how I was switching the shoes out. So it definitely wasn't even a shoe problem, it was probably more so me. Because then when I put back on the Zoom Flies for like the 1.5, whatever, 2-mile cooldown, they felt like cinder blocks. They felt so heavy. So I think I just gotta get used to like running in them. Like I said, first time ever running in Alpha Flies. I like them a lot. Super loud. You sound like kind of like, I don't even know, like duck feet. Like just like, that's definitely not a good explanation. But yeah, I liked them. And I was wondering why I was like so sweaty after the workout. And then I checked and it was 90% humidity. When I started it was 92%. And when I finished it was like 86%. So that definitely plays a factor. It's like I kind of keep always getting back to with this summer training, this chapter training. It's definitely very difficult because I know that, say, I'm faster than times I'm going right now, or I know that I'm working harder. However, that commitment to showing up every single day, even on the days where you're super uncomfortable training, is going to translate over super well when it comes to race day, when it comes to cooler weather, when it comes to a different environment. So I gotta always remind myself, it's just like, hey, whatever today the result is, good or bad, on the macro scale of life, like it's progression. I showed up, I did the work, and that's all that matters. 11 days, man. 11 days till a full Ironman. I can't believe it. I'm going Sunday to drop off Nick's bike at the Austin Tri Shop. They're gonna give it a good checkup. And then they also gave me a hard case because I usually have the bag. I'm literally risking nothing. So I'm renting a hard case from them just because I feel like that's a little bit more safe to travel with. We head out a week from tomorrow. We head out September 5th. Get there, gonna have like 2 days. Races September 8th. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. I can't believe it. I don't think I'm gonna have an actual vlog up on my channel for the race, which I'm sorry about. But that is because BPN is doing a massive documentary for it. It's really cool. We're starting shooting for it tomorrow. So there's gonna be a lot of effort put into it. So that's gonna be the video, and I'll see if I can repost it on my channel. If not, I'll link it and just show everything. But yeah, I really just want to show up, and they're going to do all the recording. They're going to be responsible. I'm just going to take a deep breath, enjoy the moment, really take in all the hard work that's got me to that point. Just do the damn thing. 10:39 right now. I have a group swim workout with NVDM at 11:45, so about an hour. Eat this. I'm also going to practice some French. I just started Duolingo again, and I'm trying to learn French because yo puedo hablar español un poquito, pero mi gramática es muy mal. But I think learning French would be like so sick, because then I could technically say I'm trilingual, because I can read Spanish super well. It's just when I'm conversing with someone who's fluent in it, I don't know how to respond. And getting back to reading too. I don't know, I'm just like this developing my mindset with like learning a new language. Maybe I get back to playing ukulele a little bit too, but I think I'm just looking at all my free time right now, because as I talked about in the outro of last video, this is the first August that I'm not in school, so I'm like, what am I doing? But yeah, especially in this taper, so I don't lose my mind, I'm trying to stay like very busy. But honestly, an Ironman taper, because I remember during my 70.3 taper, it was just like, oh, only a 5K and that's it. I'm looking at all my workouts, it's not really a taper until like 2 days out. So we had a lot of time, we're good, we're getting our work done. I'm gonna eat this breakfast, maybe throw in a clip of me practicing some French, and then get ready to go swim.
Tu es Paul?
Tu es Paul? Ah! Are you Paul? Swim is all good. Wow, it is hot in this car. 3K, 127. I'll throw the stats. Throw the stats right there. Thank you for blessing me, by the way. It feels so much later in the day than it's only 1:13. It feels so much later, so I'm gonna go home, make some food. You guys can clearly see the rhythm of my day. It goes fuel, workout, fuel, workout, fuel, workout, sleep. Like that's pretty much, and then we'll throw some like minor bullshit in between, but yeah, let's go home and make lunch. I always do this thing where I start like making a meal and then I realize I made way too much food, but I'm gonna have to eat this all because it's only my second meal of the day. So we're gonna get working on this, and then I'll chop it up and kind of fill you guys in on what the plan is for the rest of the day. So I'm still very new to like triathlons and like Ironman, so I don't know like many of the pro athletes, but I just watched a video from Lionel Sanders going over his Ironman Canada results, which like there was no swim, but he just smoked everyone, and it was everything he said. I was just like, this dude is the man. He had a really good quote in there in regards to how he felt like he had overbiked, because like first 3.5 hours he was like cranking 330 watts on average, which is absurd to me as someone who's like only been doing this for 4 months now. But he said he like definitely overbiked, and as a result felt like that really like messed up his nutrition strategy. And like, two of the big points that he had is that you don't know until you know, and then you know, which is just the idea that you really don't know your limits until you push to that point, and then it's whatever you take away from that situation. And then the second one, which I loved, and he like said it multiple times, is that we are dynamic. Human beings are in a continuous state of change. So what worked for you yesterday might not work today. If you had a good run yesterday, that doesn't mean you're gonna have a good run tomorrow. But then that goes like the other way around. It's just like if today is a bad day, that does not necessarily mean that tomorrow is a bad day. As human beings, we are always capable of changing if we're willing to commit to the process itself. So everything that he said in that video about an Ironman that he won the entire race, resonated so much with me, because I've been at this point where it's just like you're pushing really hard and you don't want to overcook yourself. You don't want to burn yourself out. And this could be everything. This could be training. This could be with a business. This could be with school. You want to work to a threshold where you're just at your like max capabilities, like the 4% threshold of like you want to be like just over your max capabilities, but not enough to burn out. Because if you're anything under that, you're like downplaying what you're capable of accomplishing. Anything over that, you're gonna burn out. It's like the concept of flow, which I believe I've talked about. If I haven't talked about, flow is essentially you're in the zone. It's that work state. A lot of neuroscientists have talked about it. I know Stephen Kotler, who I've read like a number of his books, talks a lot about it. But you are so dialed in that it doesn't even feel like you're doing anything. It's a borderline consciousness, unconsciousness, because of how just smooth your motion is with everything. Like anyone who's ever been in the quote unquote zone is in what is called like the flow state. And I just think that's so fucking cool. And I'm sorry, like I have no other way to describe it, but like as someone who studied neuroscience for 4 years, watching not only myself but other individuals achieve the flow state in sports, in music, in in whatever it may be, it always just blows my mind. But to continuously achieve that flow state, you have to realize that just because it worked for you one time, just because you had this great routine, you followed everything and it worked, and then you had this overwhelming feeling of accomplishment, this sensation that everything was clicking, everything was working just right for you, doesn't mean it's gonna work again. So that's like one big thing that I constantly have to remind myself, is that nothing is permanent. Everything is very, very temporary in our life. And as we continue to grow, as we continue to change, as we continue to have these new experiences, we always have to remind ourselves that yes, stay true to your core values, but you have to be willing to forego your routines in order to adapt to the new environment you're surrounded by, to the new circumstances you are presented with, in order to continuously see growth. For example, because it's so easy to describe in the gym, with weightlifting, if you do say 15 pounds for lateral raises or whatever you want to do, and over time it gets easier and easier and easier to the point that it's just like you're doing 15 pounds and it feels like it's absolutely nothing, what are you doing? You're no longer kind of testing your limits. You're no longer pushing yourself that dynamic barrier of like, I need to change, I need to increase the weight, I need to do something different in order to continue to see progress. Or approaching a problem that you might have with a friend or in a relationship. If you approach every single problem with the same mindset or the same, strategy, odds are it's not going to work out. You have to be willing to understand that human beings are not just objective. It's not just like, yep, we breathe and that's it. We have emotions, we have feelings, we have experiences that have shaped us. We have previous like thoughts. Like there's so much that goes into who we are as human beings. So you have to really take a step back, take a deep breath, and acknowledge just how many moving parts you are composed of. And in doing so, I think it goes back to what I talked about last video, but you gotta be patient with yourself. You can't just wake up one day and expect to understand every single thing about yourself or every single thing about your life. You really have to take things in a flow of motion as they come to you, because if you sit back and you try and plan for every single little thing that's gonna happen, you're gonna miss a lot of life that happens out here. And I know I've talked about that a lot before with the idea of thinking less and doing more, and thoughts versus thinking, but really what it just comes down to is we're always changing. We're always doing these different things. Your goals are gonna change, where you live is gonna change, who you interact with is gonna change. If you're not willing to adapt to your environment, if you're not willing to make the necessary changes to facilitate positive growth in your life, you're gonna be always at this like sedentary or stagnant point. So I like I said, I don't know many of the Ironman athletes, but Lionel Sanders, who I guess is like one of the most iconic Ironman athletes of all time, so that makes sense. Really just phenomenal point of view when it comes to training and life as a whole, because he also talked about the idea that, and I kind of mentioned it, you have to be fearless in your pursuit of doing something exceptional. If you want to do something grand or different compared to what everyone else is doing, you're going to have to go outside of the box. You're going to have to work extremely hard, and you can't be afraid of that hard work. You can't look at everything and be like, yep, just like gradually over time, yep. There's going to be some days where you just got to say, we're going in for it, and you're balls to the wall working your ass off for hours, and that's where a lot of growth is going to happen, and you have to be willing to be okay with that. However, what he did say, which I definitely need to do better at, and what I've been trying to do this week, hence why I started my run a little bit later, is it's not necessarily about a fear of training or a fear of overtraining, it's a fear of under-recovering. So there is that other aspect of life where it's just like you can want to do a lot, whether it be in business, whether it be in music, in theater, whatever it may be. You can work and dedicate yourself entirely to it, because you should, because that's where you're truly passionate. However, you need to look at the other side of things. You can't be all involved all the time, or else you're going to achieve that burnout, and that's going to like take the love of like what you are truly passionate out of it. So having that balance of, with sports, like taking time to get proper sleep, proper nutrition, with just like the social aspect of interacting with other human beings. If you just wake up every single day, train by yourself, work out by yourself, don't talk to anyone, it's negative for your mental health. We are meant to be talking to other people. We are meant to be doing these things with other people. So that's why I've been trying to go to these team swim. Although it looked like I was swimming alone, I promise you I did the majority of the workout with a team today. All right, relax. Going on these long 100-mile bike rides with other individuals, like learning from those around me, because like I said, as dynamic beings, we are always capable of growth if we're willing to accept it. So yeah, really just, that was a great video. It was like maybe a 12-minute video of him recapping his race that he won. And he's like, yeah, I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to grow from. I have a lot to change. And I was just like, that is a great, great mindset. I think I'm going to post up in the leg sleeves, get some reading done, and I'm going to make this smoothie. I can't explain it. That smoothie that I make every single time, it's just so good. (6:46). All client calls are all wrapped up. I've done pretty much everything I wanted to do today. I'm gonna go to yoga. I think I have to. Why not? Now that I'm recording this outro, we're literally 1 week away from the Ironman. A week from today, at this time, knock on wood, fingers crossed, whatever it may be, I will be an Ironman. These past few days, a lot of people have been asking me, how are we feeling? Are you ready? And I've been very honest with my answer. I've been saying, yeah, I'm nervous, but that's because it means a lot to me, and I really want to do well. I've been working very hard for this. But I kind of taken today, this Sunday's been like very slow for me, and I've allowed it to be like a reflection point that I don't need to be nervous, because no matter what happens, I'm proud of myself for simply showing up. I'm proud of myself for putting myself in this situation, for doing this very challenging and uncomfortable thing, because I know it is something that's going to provide me with so many lessons, and it's going to be something that I can share forever, and it'll become a part of me. It'll become a part of my journey in life, and I'm honestly more excited to be able to share the lessons I've learned from this, and to be able to have this be another stepping stone in my life journey than I am nervous for it to be, a challenge. Obviously it's going to be difficult. Obviously there are going to be times during the race where I'm reconsidering my decisions to voluntarily sign up for it, or when I'm just questioning my efforts, but I just have to take a deep breath and always remember to remind myself, both in this race and just every aspect of life, that I'm doing all this for something much bigger than myself. It's not just this sole intent of personal gain or another achievement, another medal to hang up over there. No, I'm doing all of this, as I said in the little blurb, but the intention of every single thing that I do, all of the content that I produce, is to hopefully inspire whoever is watching this video that you can take control of your life at any moment, and you could live it however you want to live it. You can do challenging physical feats that you've dreamt of. You can start your own business. You can move to an entirely new state and live on your own. You can surpass expectations. You can break limits. You can do whatever you want to do. That is the intention of all of this, because I've talked about it, but for so long I felt like I was getting in my own way, and that I would have these grand ideas, or I would work so hard, and when it would come time to just demonstrate my hard work, or when it would come time to take advantage of an opportunity presented in front of me, I would self-sabotage. I would belittle myself mentally. I would be my own worst critic and really just inhibit my own performance and get in my own way. So having had those experiences in the past, compared to where I am now, and just kind of the process of growing up and developing as a human being, I just want to show you guys that you can do whatever the fuck you want to do if you work hard enough. But yeah, with all that being said, I want to thank you guys very much so for watching. Hopefully the next video that I put out will be a post-race recap. I know BPN's documentary is going to take a little bit, but it's going to be insane. You have to trust me on this one. It is so extremely worth the wait. So yeah, I'm sorry that I won't have an Ironman vlog on this channel, but that film I think will definitely make up for it. With all that being said, I want to thank you guys very much for watching the video. Code HOP for BPN, for Gymshark, Inner Flame, down low, training plans, private coaching, whatever you need from me. And yeah, really at the end of the day, thank you guys very much so for watching. As it is September now, and it is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, I want to remind you all that you are never alone, you are always supported, and you are always loved. And I'm going to end every single video this month like that, so get used to it, or you can just skip this part. But yeah, thank you guys for the fourth time, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.